Good afternoon. This is Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. And now we are going to discuss with the experts online the possibility of the development of the labor potential of Ukraine, which is implemented by the public organization Inter-sectoral Association of Ukraine, labor potential development of Ukraine. And now I would like to give floor to our guests. We're having with us Olga Maksymenko, president of the expert Interdisciplinary Association of Ukraine, leading lecturer at the Academy Training Centre, Andriy Nikonchuk, head of the Association of Professional Real Estate Managers of Ukraine, Liudmyla Vasyleha, Association of Employers of Ukraine, coordinator of the project development of labor potential of Ukraine, and Maximilian Födinger, leading expert on housing infrastructure management from EEG. Olga, the floor is yours. Could you share details about your project labor potential development for Ukraine? Who is your target audience? Turn on the sound, please. Yes, thank you for reminding. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I am happy that today we have possibility to inform about our project, about possibilities that we offer in terms of gaining new knowledge and skills, especially when it comes to professional real estate management. Because of the war, just the war, and that is everything. Understand what is meant by this. Today, we have people who are left without their houses, or we have empty houses because people have left them. We understand that there are internally displaced people in our country. Some of them left abroad to save their lives and children. But we understand that sooner or later the war will be over. So what should we do with housing infrastructure? How the structure of the housing infrastructure will be changed, because people don't have their houses anymore. Because people should have places to live somewhere. Will they rent that? Will the state provide social housing? Will there be any temporary decision? But people should have their own houses, and sometimes they need to repair them or to rebuild from the scratch. So how it will be after the war is over, and we need to prepare today for that. And we have several such projects in our organization. One of them is for the labor potential development. We are coordinators and we work in our common area. This is the management, the complex management of real estate. And this project, as other similar projects, are aimed at IDPs, representatives of vulnerable population, temporarily unemployed people, and if the region requires some additional people for specific qualifications, we can train these professionals. As for our organization, we understand that we are facing challenges, but we are ready to them. In the beginning of 2017, we dealt with the issue of human forces that needed to maintain a house, which is the whole mechanism, the complex structure. So we're used to living in our apartments, in our houses. Sometimes we don't understand the complexity of that mechanism, but we need engineers and other people to maintain that. Of course, we understand and respect the forms that have been offered after 1991, after the Soviet Union was no more there, and we faced changing platform and conditions for housing management. The property structure when we were granted, so to say, was that housing should be maintained somehow. Nowadays, we have, in most cases, two forms offered by legislation. This is condominium and the management of block of flats through the managerial companies. And I would like to openly say you that the houses should be managed by professionals. That's it. I will not say that condominiums are bad, because I'm the deputy head of condominium of my house, and I have specific experience. And there are some great examples of condominiums, but there are some other cases which is not good, so to say, especially when it comes to the war. There were cases when heads of condominiums just left, leaving all the documents and keys behind. Olga, I'm sorry. Could you tell us more about the project? This is the project targeted at IDPs, unemployed people. This is the possibility to get additional skills and knowledge, and also to have advanced training. A lot of people nowadays can no longer work in their field as it was before the full-scale invasion, and we understand that now we don't have time for a long-term education and training. People need to get new knowledge for a short period of time to become competitive at the labor market. How long will it last? The trainers of this project are practitioners. And it is we have the concentrated pool of practitioners who have faced different situations. We should also remember that on the 1st January 2019, the certification for the managers was introduced in Ukraine. At least one person in management should have its qualifications certified. And they are bankrupted enterprises, etc. But the certificate provided could allow a person to start their business activity as an individual entrepreneur. This could be also self-employed people. And this person could be the better head of condominium compared to just elected people. This is this third iteration of the program, and it is very symbolic that on the 1st of September 2021, before the war, the latest version of the training program was adopted, and it was approved by the Ministry of Education and Science, and the program was acknowledged by the Employers Federation of Ukraine, and we also supported it as our association. After training, we do not leave our students on their own. It is very important for us to follow up how these people use their knowledge. Can they find jobs? Can they start their own business? Because this feedback is very important for us. Because we should meet the demand of the labor market and people, and we are oriented on people, so we should give them a helping hand. And I hope that this project will continue in the future, and there are many countries which are interested in providing their support, and our association keeps in touch with different countries and different associations in the same field. Those people who are ready to offer exchange of experience, their training programs, and also to share their practice. Thank you. Could some of our guests briefly explain the requirements to the candidates, what they can learn, how long the training will last, and what are the options for jobs, and how much should they pay? No, everything is free of charge. How long will it last? This is free training. As for our target audience, for everyone who wants to train, those people who would like to be professionally certified according to the legislation in force, there are some requirements to this, but anyone could undergo our training. But our workshop will help people to undergo that certification, because everyone who work in the real estate management will be supported by the program. What is the timeline? What is the period? These are brief online courses for 2 weeks. And also there will be some tests, some practical work. And everyone could undergo training. As for certification, there should be specific requirements. And now I would like to give floor to our next speaker, Liudmyla. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for being with us today. When it comes to employment and labor market of Ukraine, and the labor market has changed a lot in Ukraine during the full-scale invasion. We can see the geographical transformations, because some regions that never had so many jobs that they could offer are now very popular, and we can see the changes in pattern and the number of people. We are now talking about the necessity of quick, flexible programs for people to change their qualification. And they just need to, they have some background, but they need to learn something new to find jobs or to become a self-employed person or to become head of a condominium. And we need to take this into consideration, and we need to change the context of training and the content of training and professional qualifications. As for the project that we are discussing today, I would like to invite you to follow Facebook pages, USAID and the International Development Foundation. There will be a lot of information published about the project in social media, including soft skills. And we can see the need among employers to have employees with specific soft skills. But these projects helps people to manage housing. The presentation will be on the 30th of September. On this 30th of August, we will present the whole project because this is a complex project. It is not only about how to manage houses or condominiums, but there are also other projects for people that other opportunities for people as for training and also for different companies. We are glad to be included in providing support of the specific project. This is the EIAU of organization, but as for the project, it is very large one, and you can learn a lot about it on our Facebook page, and it is supported by the USAID and the economic support of Ukraine, and it is free of charge for Ukraine. We know that this is supported by the USAID, that this is the part of a larger project, but could you please share more details about the program, because this is the topic of our today's briefing. Is this profession, the managers of condominiums, popular at the labor market? Yes, it is quite popular, but I think that together with Olga and other participants, to raise awareness about this project, because we need professional managers of houses or condominiums. Because sometimes people say that they don't need the higher education to become managers, that anyone can do this job. But we need to develop the culture to make it a real profession. And for people to understand that they need to get some knowledge and skills. And we need to involve other strata of population, including our veterans, IDPs. And they will be able to to get a new job and to become heads of their condominiums or houses. And what is your pool of participants? 50 persons, as it is planned for this project. The project that has almost started, but the training will start at the beginning of September. Yes, Olga, and it will last for 1 month, right? There will be 3 groups of participants. But there will be the first and second group this year, and the next group will be trained in 2024. But it is around 1 month of training for each group, at a bit less, I think. Maximilian, the floor is yours. Please just join our discussion. Are you involved in this course as an expert? And yes, I'm not that good in Ukrainian. Could you repeat your question in Russian? Are you involved in this project as an expert on housing infrastructure management? Or how do you involved in the project? How are you involved? I'm a kind of a contact person with Austria, because in Austria, this profession has been for 35 years, and it is very important in our country. This is the whole sector. We need to understand that this is not about engineers who construct the house. This is a different type of profession, because for that profession, you not only need to have a technical background, and also the economic background is needed. So we're talking about how to properly manage houses. And so we can just make houses operational not during 20 years that used to be before, but for 30 and more years. And we need to change our approaches. And I can share Austrian standards. And this is a development sector where we need to teach people how to properly maintain the whole infrastructure. Maximilian, sorry for that. And the journalist watching this press conference online asks to briefly explain your role in this project. So as far as I understand, you try to approximate Ukrainian standards to Austrian standards. And during this 1 month. Yes. So I'm like a translator. I'm like an interpreter. I will interpret, translate Austrian standards into Ukrainian reality. And I lived in Ukraine for 10 years, and I know what can work and what will fail. So I will be like a bridge between two countries. And I know what is important for Ukraine and what is not that important and could be left outside. Thank you very much. So you will explain Austrian standards to Ukrainian realia, like in Austrian Aeron. Yes, we're talking here about adjustment of Austrian standards, like a translator, right? I would like to give floor to Andriy Nikonchuk, who is the head of the Association of the Professional Real Estate Managers of Ukraine. Andriy, are you with us? Yes. Can you tell us about your role in this project? Will you be involved in the project as a trainer? Will you be ready to support people with employment after the courses? Association of Professional Real Estate Managers of Ukraine is a part and parcel of training, advanced training and retraining, and the further implementation of the knowledge during the course. Our association cooperates with the expert Interdisciplinary Association of Ukraine for more than 4 or 5 years, and we are those people who trained more than 80% of condominium managers, and 80% of the people who got knowledge, around 80%. Now we have around 2,000 of them. And when we have 2,000 managers for around 180,000 block of flats. So 2,000 of people who underwent professional training and really have the right to manage condominiums. And I would like to explain to our audience that the association and the managers are different things. And we speak about professional managers, which is not envisioned for condominiums in Ukraine by the Ukrainian legislation. But the role of Association of Professional Real Estate Managers of Ukraine is very important. I'm the trainer. I will start the course, and 15 hours will be dedicated to such topics as regulations, practical experience, approbation of legislative novelties that were introduced like 2 weeks ago. That was very important for this domain, and I think that they will simplify the work in general, which is important for decision-making process for block of flats or condominiums. One of the missions and roles of our associations is liquidation of the deficit of human resources for this area. Liudmyla has already mentioned that significant demand at the labor market, and it is due to several facts, because that was not enough focus on this in the framework of vocational education. And now we can see the conditions on Ukraine. A lot of professionals have been taken out of these economic activities and joined the armed forces of Ukraine, and now they are substituted by other people, having additional burden on them. This is the lack of the technical base for that, so we are facing a lot of challenges. But I can say that together with my colleagues, and I am proud of this, are generators of the jobs, because one manager can cover around 500 individual accounts. 500 individual accounts is 500 social contacts that we need to communicate every day. And if the number of contacts is more, the manager cannot cope with this and should involve other professionals, creating additional jobs, delegating responsibilities. Some people could be dispatchers, others will be responsible for communications, and other for legal questions. And the manager in our case is the person should provide psychological support, mental support, legal support, etc. So we are talking about the new social communicative infrastructure. What is needed? What is our mission? What is our target within the project? With regard to 3 groups of participants when it comes to training of new 50 experts. And I believe that this will be only start. Then we will have 500 or 5,000 trained professionals. I hope for that. But we need to ensure proper conditions. And we already cooperated with international partners in autumn last year. And we introduced a practical element during 2 days when I showed different models, different experience. For example, one day was dedicated to condominiums, and we showed people the best example, which is a flagship in this area, having all necessary engineer communications and other elements, having the heating room under the roof. The next day, we showed the managerial companies, which is another system, which is an alternative. So we showed centralized, decentralized heating. We showed the offices. We showed regulations, algorithm, and how to manage, how to deal with claims if it's needed. We showed the work of cleaners, etc. So after such practical tour, people got the complex understanding of what they were going to face. Are you going to repeat this for the groups that will be trained? Because it is very important now to get the information about details of the training programs, what you are offering. So we will have theoretical part, regulations, legal acts, psychology, engineering, etc. And psychology is very important here because it is very important to keep your head cold during discussions and decision-making process. And it is very important to be able to take into consideration different opinions. It will also tell them even about lifts, and the theoretical part will cover 72 hours. This will be kind of introduction to the whole work, and if needed, we will integrate practice. So a person attending our courses will get the whole range of all regulation and technical knowledge, and it will be able to pass qualification test, and after that the person will be included in the register of managers of block of flats, and after that the person will be able to provide managerial services, or alternatively even without having willingness to become the head of condominium, the person can use the obtained knowledge to become a head of condominium or cooperative. Our graduates are the heads of block of flats, condominiums, and also the individual entrepreneurs. And the last question, if only 50 people will be in the first group, how these candidates will be selected for the final pool? And this is the question to Olga. And colleagues also would like to answer this question. Can you hear me? I'm just specifying the question: who will select candidates and what are the criteria? And we receive applications, so they will be. We have specific requirements. These should be IDPs, those people who are unemployed, vulnerable people. There is an application form that should be filled in to provide all information needed. We need to remember that even people without the work experience can participate in this training. And this is important for those people who would like to undergo professional certification. We work with the USAID project. Olga, sorry for interrupting. Could you share the criteria for selection? Everyone who wants could join our courses, but there are some priorities. If we have 10 IDPs, of course, this is our most priority. And if we have 10 people and only 2 IDPs or 5 unemployed persons, then we will define our priorities. Of course, we can have different situations, unemployed or employed people, and our priority will be an unemployed person. Our main task is to provide possibilities. So the priority is giving to IDPs and unemployed. Yes, but everyone could apply for the training, even if they are employed. We will also take into consideration the region where a person is residing, because there are some more vulnerable regions, and they are also our priority. And what is the relation between the region and those people in need? For example, Western regions where a lot of people moved are in need of jobs, but they cannot find jobs with regard to their background. For example, this is a designer, but has 3 kids, and this person could be offered a position of the manager of housing company, requiring a certificate from the person. And I understand that there are different types of regions, the gray zone, people underselling and who do not want to leave their regions. And I believe that we need to help people to leave those areas for them to feel safe, and only after that then can train. So the front line is not your priority. So we will decide in a case-by-case basis. So it is very important for a person to have at least basic education. And for example, all applicants are employed, but they want to change their profession, and we cannot disregard those people. How many applications do you expect to get? And if you speak about the group of 50 people, no, this is improper. There will be 3 groups having 50 persons in total, 50 participants in total. This is what we plan. And if the demand is higher, then we will see in case-by-case basis. There are 3 groups planned. The first group will start training on the 28th of September. There is the schedule planned. We have applications from the Odessa, Poltava, Zaporizhzhia regions. And that would be great to hear people from the same region, and this is good for people to be able to discuss their common problems, which is also very important. So our decision will be based on the application. So everyone actually could apply. I do understand this, that you will be able to select 50 people and we can increase the number of groups. And we need to stop here because we have the time frame and we need to get ready to the next briefing, to the next event, and would like to say that people could participate in this program, and this is very important. Thank you. We will disseminate this information through our news piece. Thank you very much for being with us today. That was the last briefing in Media Center Ukraine Odessa today. Please follow our announcements for Thursday and the next week.